These speakers
there you go.
are so invisible. They still produce a beautiful 3D image without forcing it. It's not a forced image.
Yeah.
It's just there. It's the sound that we had before is there. And the Milberts, I'm so surprised after all these years, they sound exactly the way they used to.
Yeah.
Exactly the same way.
Michael went through and put all new tubes in them. He checked the caps.
Did he? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep, before
You send these, okay, before you bought it.
Yeah, before I bought the car. He pulled them out of the car, went through them all.
Yeah.
But obviously that, I know we were just talking about that Alpine head unit is crap compared to...
That's the problem here. What we're listening to is that the Alpine sounds... It doesn't sound as good as the XES.
Yeah.
Again, this is just a temporary piece.
Yeah, for sure.
And the units that I heard in West Virginia were the new digital.
Yeah.
They did not sound like digital. They sounded invisible.
Yeah.
They just produced music, and you couldn't say, oh, it's too slow, it's got too much overhang here. They had no sound at all, and they didn't have a digital sound, and they didn't have an analog sound. They just put out the sound.
Just natural.
Of the, what's the name of them again?
There's the Zapco and the Helix are the two main ones.
The Zapco and Helix that I heard in West Virginia. They were so spectacular and quiet. See, this old Alpine has a lot of noise, and it's not taking advantage. But I will tell you that these speakers sound... These are very good speakers.
Yeah.
And they don't sound like a Today speaker.
Yeah.
They don't.
They got that warm
They have
British...
a certain sound to them that is, if you buy a B&W speaker today, they will not sound like this.
Yeah.
They were made differently. They were voiced differently.
What was the name of the guy that did the original voicing?
The original voicing was done by John Bowers.
Yeah.
And Stephen Rowe.
Stephen Rowe, that was a guy's
name.
And
I understand he retired, and he has now become a drunken old audiophile guy.
That's what
happens. That's what's happened. They told me with audiophiles that work for the audio companies. When they retire, they just get get drunk for the rest of their life, and they die.
Can I get you a beer, Earl?
No. But these were made differently. The next generation that Lawrence Dickey worked on, the one that owns Vivid, and they were the second reiteration in the car. If you remember, I had the big woofer and everything. Did not have this sound. He went for the newer speakers are more accurate.
Yeah.
And there's something about it, like what's the ceramic speakers?
Accuton.
Accuton.
Yeah.
Accuton has a sound. There's no two ways about that.
Yeah,
it has a very distinct sound of the ceramic. And it cannot sound like these speakers.
Yeah.
But when you measure them, they're probably more accurate.
Yep.
And it's the same way.
They're more revealing.
It's almost like a tube amplifier. You measure compared to a new solid state amplifier. The solid state is going to roll over the tubes, but you can listen all day.
Yeah.
It's exactly. I remember the time we went down to visit for the course at Richard Clark's place.
Right.
And I brought 3 other people with me. And we drove for all those hours. It was like 10 hours or something to get down to the Carolinas. And when we got out of the car, all of them said, we can't listen to our car for more than an hour. You know, they were all their competitors.
Ears are killing them.
And this car, it sounds just as good as the moment we got in it.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm hearing, of these speakers again. And this is without the woofers.
Yeah.
And the woofers, remember, really contribute a lot to the voice. So the speakers, this is where you stay.
Yeah.
The amplifiers here. Yep. You stay with these amplifiers. The head end is where this is just a mock-up right now.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Just to get a little sound going.
Get a little sound.
All right.
Now, if you have, Mike, if you have an adapter,
I don't.
From a jack from here to RCA, I can use my iPhone.
Let me see what I can do. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pause this. All right, we got Earl listening to the Looney Tunes track, the famous track that he listened to so many times in the car and demoed for people.
Yeah, I was just listening to Casper the Friendly Ghost. He tried to lie to me one time, but I saw right through him.
Always with the jokes.
This was such a dynamic recording.
Yeah.
And when I played it for people, they had never heard music like this because they were always used to the, junky recordings, and this one was really done good.
Yeah.
This was before digital, and it was recorded in 2496.
Oh, was it really? Wow.
At the Telarc studio in Ohio.
Wow.
And nobody really was doing digital at that time.
Yeah.
And that's why their stuff had a very distinctive sound. It ended up that the analog to digital units got better over time, but theirs was one of the first. But this was a terrific cut. Nobody ever got out of the car or just said, "Okay, I heard enough of this."
No, first time I heard this track, I listened. I think it's 7.5 minutes long.
It's got The Simpsons in it. It's got Casper. It's got every cartoon thing in it. And Woody Woodpecker.
Yep.
That's why the women loved him.
Awesome. Yep, you got it.